Hello friend, welcome to the January 2025 mild workout. You can get through everything today, almost everything with just body weight, some light weight, whether it be dumbbells, soup cans, something like that in the 3 to 5, maybe 8-pound range. Should be all you need, although there is an optional exercise ball and mini band addition, but if you don't have those, not a problem. Let's get right into it. So we're going to start with some side-lying arm circles. As part of our warm-up, lie on your side, stack your legs up so you're in that seated chair position, arms stacked in front, and now we're going to draw a nice big circle. As we get the arm behind us, we're going to turn the torso, follow that hand with your head, slow the circle down because that's where we're going to get the stretch when the arm is behind. And then complete the circle, come back to the front. And we're going to do 3 of these per side. Somewhere in the 3 to 5 range. Actually, I think your workout says 4. So let's go through 4 of these. That was 2. We'll do 2 more. Keeping the knees stacked here. So don't have the legs or the knees pop up off the ground. Your arm might be way up here, and that is fine. Work with whatever mobility you have available. 1 more on this first side. Deep breath out as we open the arm up. Should feel a stretch come through the front of the shoulder, maybe in through the torso as well. All right, that's one side. Let's flip over and head to the other side. Stack the legs up, 90 degrees, arms together, and here we go. Arm is going overhead and around. Deep breath out. I just did a bunch of shoveling, so a little stiff on this side, apparently. And that's why we go through them a few times. So that we can start to loosen our spine and our shoulders up. Number 3, on anything that we're doing today, if you feel, wow, this is amazing, feels like Christmas came early, or I guess late. Sorry, I'm filming this before Christmas. Even though this is a January workout. But anything that feels really good, feel free to stick around and do a few more repetitions than I do. All right, that's our 4 circles. From here, we're gonna go to 90-90 hip rotations. So have a seated position, feet fairly wide, outside shoulder width apart, knees at 90 degrees, and we're gonna drop the knees to one side. So when I drop the legs, I'm trying to keep the whole leg flat, the knees are on the ground, and this hip, in this case my back leg or my right side, is popping up. I'm going to try and pull that down to the ground, and that's going to give you a bit of a stretching sensation into the hip joints here. All right, we're going to pivot our legs and go to the other side. So we're going through 4 of these per side, holding each time for somewhere between 5 to 10 seconds. If you find one side is more restricted or tight than the other, then spend a little more time on your restricted side. Let's rotate back. I'm trying to keep my spine nice and tall at all times, so not slouching back. I'm just working on pulling the hip down to the floor. Let's rotate again. You might have your hands on the floor behind you to assist either through the whole exercise or maybe the transition. If you want to challenge yourself, bring your arms up in the air, rotate to the other side, and see if you can get that transition with the arms off the ground. That forces you to keep your torso upright so you don't fall backwards. So it's kind of a way to test yourself with your mobility. Back to the other side. We have 1 more per side to get our 4 per side. You see, I'm kind of like wiggling around and moving around. Anytime I'm doing my mobility work, I like to move through the position as opposed to just statically holding. And that way I can kind of explore how my joints are feeling. Last time on the first side, and if I find a spot that feels a little more restricted or a little bit tighter, then I'm going to try and push into that position and work in that spot. Back to the second side. Wrapping up our 90-90s here. At any point, if you need to pause the video to take a little more of a rest, feel free to do so. And if I'm going through the explanation on any of these exercises too quick, you can take a look at the actual program-based workout. There's a link, not the video link, but the program link, where you can see all the exercises, and I describe each exercise in detail there. All right, hip prep is next. So come on up to a quadruped position, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and I'm going to press my body away from the floor. Hips go up to the ceiling. Trying to get the mic out of my face here. Pushing the shoulders towards the floor. Heels are going down towards the floor. And I'm trying to get a nice stretch through the back of the legs. You might be able to get your knees perfectly straight here. You might find they're quite bent. Just depends on your mobility through the posterior chain. You can see I'm walking one heel up and the other one down, just to play around with challenging one side a little bit more than the other. All right, so this is our downward dog position. From here, I'm going to step forward with my right leg. Bring my right foot to the outside of my hand. And you might find you can only get your foot there. You can just pull it up or walk your way back, whatever you got to do to get into this position. Your left knee or back knee can either remain off the ground, that's a little bit more work, or place the knee on the ground. I'm going to drive my pelvis forward and raise my ribs or chest towards the ceiling. What I'm looking for primarily is a stretch coming through the front of my back leg, the front of that hip, or I might get a stretch coming through the back of my front leg. I'm going to hold each position for about 5-10 seconds here. All right, I'm going to step back out with the right foot. Transition back to the downward dog. Butt up in the air. Heels towards the floor. Get that stretch through the hamstrings. All right, let's transition to the left foot forward. So this is a deep lunge or spider lunge position. Back knee can stay on the floor or it can come up. Either way, driving the hips forward, raising the ribs up towards the ceiling until I feel that nice stretch coming through the front of the hip. You can see me again kind of wiggling and moving around, just exploring my joints. All right, one more time on each side. We're going to step back, downward dog again. A little bit shorter this time because we spent a lot of time on that first one. And step forward with the right. A couple options here. If you want to start to include a little bit more of a torso stretch, feel free to lift your inside arm and reach up to the ceiling. If you want to get a bit more of a stretch in the back leg, you can lift that heel up towards the sky. You could do both or one or the other. All right, reset the hand, back foot to the floor, back knee up. We're going to step out. Final downward dog. We're almost through the preparatory work or the warm-up. Step forward with the left. Either stay here or optional reach to the ceiling, optional back foot raised up towards the ceiling as well. So whatever you do, make sure we don't lose that stretch coming through the front of the hip. All right, reset the hand and come on out of there. All right, so that has prepared us to get into our workout. Our workout's pretty straightforward today. We're going to start with 4 exercises. We're going to go through all 4. We're going to cycle through for a second set. And then if you want to stick around and do a third set, feel free to pause the video or just do a third set in the time frame that it takes me to do 2, because I'll probably be talking a fair amount here. All right, so we're starting with squats. If you have weights and you're ready to add weight, feel free to grab goblet squat, grab weights at the shoulders, whatever you would like. I'm going to start just body weight here. So feet hip width apart, toes turned out about 20-30 degrees, And we're gonna sit ourselves down, making sure the knees go out nice and wide. And then stand back up. We're going through 10 to 15 reps here. Because I'll be talking a lot through the video, you're probably gonna find my counting is gonna be pretty rough. So this is 4, but I'll do my best to make sure we get between 10 to 15 with every set. Feel free to count your own reps and record your reps if you would like. From the side here, you can see my hips go back. My spine is staying neutral, but I have a bit of a lean forward through my torso to keep my center of mass over my midfoot. My heels should stay planted. My toes should stay planted. So if your heels are up or your toes are up, try to shift your body weight to get the center of mass over the foot. One more. All right, that's probably 13 or 14 or so. On the next set, I'm gonna add some weights. You can too. And here we're gonna go to push-ups. So if you're good for push-ups on the floor, come on down to the floor with me. If this is too challenging, feel free to use a table, kitchen counter, chairs, stools, bench, whatever you've got to get your hands high up or higher off the ground so you can go through the movement appropriately. We're gonna get our hands just outside shoulder width apart. When we set up into the plank position, my shoulders are over my hands, so I don't want my hands way up in front of my face here. I want to get over top. I'm going to lower my body down and then press up. So here we go. 10 to 15 push-ups. Nice and slow on the descent. Nice and strong on the way up. My whole body's moving together. So try to avoid the butt coming up or the butt drooping down or the head poking forward. Body stays in that nice straight line the whole time. I think we're at 8 here. 9, 10, 11. You only go as many as you're comfortable. Stop when you need to stop. 14, one more. And 15. Excellent. All right. From here, we're gonna go into hip thrusters. I'm gonna show these on the floor, and then the next set I'll do it on the ball, in case you have a ball handy. But for those of you just going body weight today, or without a ball, we're gonna set up on the floor, lying on our back. Full foot is planted on the ground. Knees close to 90 degrees or a little bit less. And from here, I'm going to drive my hips up to the ceiling. Pause at the top, and then control back down to the floor. I forgot to mention, if you got your mini band with you, toss your mini band on. Can't forget the mini band. All right, back in position. So with the band at the knees, I'm pushing the band out. I don't want the band to pull my knees together. Here we go. Drive the hips up. About a 2, 3, 4, or 5 second hold at the top before I reset. The focus is the glute drive. So what we want to avoid is driving the belly up. That's going to start to arch the low back and put pressure into the low back. You don't want that. But if I keep my abs engaged, to keep my lumbar spine neutral, and pulling this down and driving my glutes up, then I'll feel the glute work, not low back pressure. Don't forget to keep pushing that band out. It's very easy to push the band out. Grab a heavier one, or you could double up your bands, put 2 or 3 lighter bands together. 10 to 15 here. Everything's 10 to 15 for our first 4 exercises. We're coming up to 10 here. We'll go to 15. I'll try to hit 15 on all my sets, just so those of you that want the full 15 can take it. Or if you're tired after 10 or 12, you get a little bit more rest or recovery before we start the next exercise. 13, 14, and 15. Beautiful. Come on up. The band comes off. And you'll notice I'm not overly concerned with hitting exactly 15 reps or exactly 10 or 12 reps. The number of repetitions you do is far less important than the quality of the movement. A, does it feel comfortable? There's no pain or discomfort. And B, are we getting a good amount of work that we feel fatigue in the muscles that we want without losing technique or form? So that might mean 17 reps. That might mean 5 reps. We're looking for the quality of movement, not a specific number. All right, next one is dumbbell reverse fly. So if you don't have dumbbells, no problem. Grab a set of soup cans, anything else that you can find that will challenge the movement for you. But probably in that 5-pound range is a good place to start. Feet are hip width apart. I'm going to hinge or stick my butt way back behind me. I'm thinking of pinching through the front here as I shoot my butt back. I'm trying to get my torso into this fairly horizontal position. So the more upright I am, the more I'm going to move away from the muscles I'm trying to target. Weights are straight down, slight bend at the elbows. I'm going to bring them out to the side, pause, and then control back down. To readjust my mic there. There we go. All right. So this is our reverse fly. Stay looking at the floor once you've got the movement down and you don't need to stare at the screen anymore. Now, if you're using dumbbells and your weight is too heavy, you're gonna find that you can't actually hold the dumbbells at the top. So you'll probably be swinging them and they'll be coming down right away. That's a sign the weights are too heavy. Grab something a little bit lighter so that you can pause at the top. Even if that pause is only like half a second or 1 second, at least there's a pause. Now I know I'm managing the weight load. All right, I think that's around 10. Do a few more here. Keep the core engaged. You'll probably be feeling the back of the legs into the glutes working just to hold your body in that position. Last one. Perfect. All right, that's our reverse fly. Great work. Grab some water if you need some water. We're going back to the top, starting with the squats, heading back to push-ups, hip thrusters, reverse flies. Then we're going to transition to some core work. So I'm going to grab the weights I already have handy here. If you have heavier weights, feel free to go heavier and challenge yourself a bit more. 10 to 15 reps again. I'm going to go into this rack position. So I have one end of the dumbbell just resting on my shoulder, and elbows are off the body and to the front. Feel free to go to a goblet squat here if you prefer. All right, let's get ready. Find that same position, toes turned out, feet hip width apart, not super wide. And let's go down. Knees travel out. And then stand up. Don't worry too much about getting all the way down to the ground. If you don't have the mobility or the strength yet, you just go through whatever range you're comfortable with. Over time, we can start trying to get lower as the hips open up, as the ankles open up, and we have the strength to come out of there. All right. Nice and slow movements. Nothing is fast today. So we don't want to be dropping into the squats like that. And we're robbing ourselves from a lot of the work we can be getting by going slow on the way down. I'm going to say 9, 10, 11, 12. Go for 3 more. 2 more. Nice work. Last one. And good.
All right, you're done with your squats for the day, unless you're putting yourself through a third set. All right, let's go to push-ups. Which way did I show these last time? I'm trying to think. I think I showed from the front, so I'm gonna go here. All right, let's get set up in our position. Now, another thing I didn't mention on that first set is what should I do with my pelvis? So what I want you to do, once you're in the plank, I want you to think of doing the opposite of sticking your butt up and out. So you're gonna tuck your tailbone in, squeeze your glutes here, squeeze your abs here, and lock the pelvis low back in that position. There should never be any pressure or discomfort at the low back when we do push-ups or any abdominal work. All right, here we go. Work on the depth you're comfortable with. And if you are doing them on an incline off of a counter or table, then when you can get up to 12 or 15 without too much effort, or even with effort, but you can hit that rep range, then you can start trying to go a little bit lower down. You can do these on stairs as well, which are nice because you have a nice progression down to the floor there. Just gotta watch that you don't smash your face into the stairs, that's all. All right, I'm getting tired from the work and the talking. And catch my breath. I think that's 13, 14, and 15. Beautiful. All right. Mini band time. We're going back to the thrusters. I promised you I would show these on a ball. So if you have a ball, feel free to give it a try here or just stick to the ground. The advantage to the ball, it's the same muscle groups, it's the same exercise. The difference is it allows us to work through a larger range of motion. And it might encourage not hyperextending the spine. From the floor, we tend to have a tendency to hyperextend because we're trying to get the hips higher, we push the belly up. So feel free to try the ball, just don't fall off of it. All right, so I'm gonna roll forward here so that my shoulder blades are rested on the ball, butt's just off the ground. I'm pushing out on the mini band. Here we go, same exercise. Drive the hips up, pull the abdominals in, pause at the top. So I'm looking for this tabletop position at the top, trying not to finish with the hips down here, trying to get all the way up. Head's gonna go back and rest on the ball when your hips are in the air. And then when you bring the hips down, the head comes up. So whatever the torso does, that's what the head does as well. Over time, you can start working on a longer hold, which gives you a bit more opportunity to squeeze the glutes and feel that work in the butt muscles. Increase your band resistance. You can even start to add weight. Put a dumbbell up on your, just like around your waist area, so you're working against more resistance. And I'm sure in future videos, we'll start exploring single leg options to start spicing things up even more. All right, I'm getting tired in the glutes here. I'm gonna do one more. If you're still going strong, you don't have to stop just because I stop. All right, great work. We've got one more exercise before we transition to our core work. That's gonna be our dumbbell reverse flies. All right, so grab your weights, soup cans, whatever you're working with. And these I'll show from the front this time. So let's get set up. Feet hip width apart, toes forward. I'm hinging, butt goes way back. Torso as close to parallel as I can. Dumbbells just in front of the legs, slight bend at the elbows so we're not locked. And here we go. Pause at the top, control them down. You should always be in control of the weight load, no matter what the exercise is. If you feel like the weight is bossing you around, we don't like bosses or bossy. We don't like bossy weights. So bring the weight down and get back in control of your workout. This is 9. Try to avoid tension in the neck. So if you feel tension in the neck, you might be shrugging your shoulders up. Pull those guys down. Make sure you're breathing. I got 2 more in me. And that's it for me. Good. You keep going if you can. All right. So that's our reverse fly. That's our 2 sets. Feel free to pause the video. Go through a 3rd round. Squats, push-ups, hip thrusters, reverse flies. And then hit start again when you're done. All right, we're going into the core section of the workout. So we have 3 exercises. Some are time-based, some are rep-based. Actually, we're just gonna do them all rep-based. Let's keep it consistent. So we're gonna start with a hollow tuck. Lying on our back. I'm gonna bring my knees to my elbows. As I do so, my shoulders are gonna come off the ground here. And I wanna keep them there the whole time. If at some point the abs get too tired and my shoulders start to drop, that's when I stop the exercise. So I'm gonna start to get my low back coming off the ground. And I might get pressure in my low back, and we need to avoid that. All right, so knees to the elbows, shoulders up. We're gonna extend everything out and then bring it back in. I might just do one arm here just because I got this mic problem I'm dealing with here. I don't want it to be too muffled for you guys. So reaching out, pausing there. You can hold that extended position for longer if you want more work, because this is where the core has to work the most. Now remember, we're working the abdominals on the front. Do nothing in the back. If you're feeling the back, you stop. You can try repositioning with the shoulders up, or you're just done for the set. 8 to 12. 8 to 12 reps for everything in the core work. I think I neglected to let you know that ahead of time. But the same comment applies. The number of reps is less important than how the set actually went. That's it for me. I feel my shoulders starting to come down, so I'm stopping there. All right. Next one we're gonna go into is a side plank, knee to elbow. So from here, I have my elbow under my shoulder. We're gonna start off of the knee for the first set. Maybe second set will get a bit spicier with it. And if you feel like the knee to elbow portion is too challenging, then I want you to just hold the side plank for today until you develop a bit more strength and you can do the knee to elbow. So the hips are gonna come up and forward, body in a nice straight line. I'm gonna reach my top arm and leg out, and I'm gonna bring them together. There's my knee to elbow. That's 1. And then re-extend out, and 2. 3. Try to keep the hips up and forward. Over time, you're gonna find they're gonna start to droop down here. We want to avoid that if we can. 6, maybe 7. Where are we at? I'm gonna call that 8. So 8 to 12. You can always do these slower if you're getting to 12 without much effort. 2 more. And 12. All right. Now, the best part about side planks, we got 2 sides, don't we? So let's flip over. All right, other elbow under the shoulder. We're coming up to the knee, hips high and forward. Reach out and bring them together. Knee to elbow, that's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Nice reach overhead with the arm and leg. That kicking leg, try to keep it up so we're not bringing it down to the floor here. That's 9, 10, 11, and 12. Beautiful. All right. Next one we've got is alternating Supermans. This one is face down on the ground, so mic's coming off. Otherwise, you won't hear a word I say. All right, so we're gonna set up face down on the ground. I'll probably be looking forward just to talk to the mic, but I want you facing the floor once you've got the movement down. Arms are overhead, hence the name Superman. And we're going to lift the opposite arm and opposite leg. Pause for 1 to 3 seconds, reset, and then alternate to the other side. Here we go. So the chest will come up slightly. The height of the arm and the leg raise is based on your mobility, the strength along the back side of the body, shoulders, glutes, back muscles, but also we don't want to be feeling pain or discomfort into the low back itself. If you feel that, try not getting up as high, either with the leg or the torso or both, until you might feel a little bit of contraction or work back there. That's fine, but no discomfort or pain. All right, we're looking at 8 to 12 per side. And call this next one here 10. We'll go to the full 12. Here comes 11. Spend more time at the top for more work. A little more time at the bottom for less work. Last repetition here. And that's 12. Excellent. Okay, that's one set through. So why do we pick those core exercises? Well, the first one works the 6-pack, rectus abdominis. Our side plank does the obliques. And Superman does the back. So we get the full circle or the entirety of the core with those exercises. All right, we're back to hollow tucks. So set number 2. On the back, shoulders are coming up to the knees. Shoulders to knees. Well, you can impress yourself if you can do that. Impress me if you can do that. I'm just going to do elbows to knees. Thank you. Shoulders up. Here we go. Straighten them out and back in. There's 1. 2. If you find these too easy, you could do a dead drop instead. That's straight arms and straight legs through the whole exercise. Longer levers means more work. Otherwise, you just keep bending your knees and elbows. That's 9. Shoulders up. 10. 11 and 12. Beautiful. I can't wait to hear my heavy breathing and grunting when I edit this video. Side plank is next. So If that first set was a good amount of work, stick with the knee exactly as we did the first time. I'm going to demonstrate from the foot if you want to make it a little more challenging. All right, same setup, elbow under the shoulder, either from the knee with the knee bent or straighten that lower leg down if we're going off of the foot. The rest is the same. Here we go. That's 1, 2. Recheck your hips throughout the exercise. Make sure they're staying high. Make sure they're staying forward. 5, 6, 7, 8. Long spine. Try not to curl the spine down. Last 2. 11 and 12. All right. So I probably did those reps a little bit quicker because it's more work. So if you're like, hey man, slow it down. You can slow it down. I can't slow it down. This is a video. It's already recorded. But you can slow it down if you want to challenge yourself more. All right, here we go. Let's get up, other side. Choose your position. And let's go. Elbow to knee. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're in range here. That's 8, 9, 10. 2 more. 11 and 12. Awesome. Okay. Guess what, friends? Time for our last exercise here before stretching. So we're gonna go back to those alternating Supermans. Let's get face down. All right, opposite arm and leg. Here we go. 1 to 3 second holds and switch. Now, if you found the first set was too easy, you could do a full Superman instead of alternating, which is bringing all the limbs up, pause, and then return back to the floor. Here we go. This is going to be more work. That's too much. Go back to the alternating. So find a variation where you're in control, but you're being challenged. Keep breathing. You're probably going to breathe at the bottom on the reset. You might hold your breath at the top just because it's just the positioning. It's a little more awkward for breathing, but you can. Find what works for you. As long as you're breathing between each repetition at some point is what's most important. 1 more per side here for me. And that's it. Great. All right. Well done. Give yourself a high five. You made it through the workout portion of the January 2025 mild workout. We're gonna go through 4 stretches here to finish things off, starting with a spine twist. So you're gonna lie on your back. You're gonna bring one arms out to a T position to start. You're gonna bring one leg up, grab the outside of that knee with the opposite hand. You're gonna pull the leg across the body. You might need to do a little bit of a hip switch or hip shuffle there as you pull the leg across. Deep breath out, let the spine rotate. We're keeping the opposite shoulder down. In this case, my right leg is pulled across the left side of my body. So I'm going to feel a stretch coming across the front of the right shoulder, through the right torso, maybe into the outside of the right hip. From here, I can play with this stretch a couple ways. I can get more glute stretch by pulling the knee towards my shoulder and to the floor. Or I can get a little bit more hamstring stretch by straightening the knee out as far as I can go. Or if it's already a nice stretch for you, then just hang out there. How long are we holding stretches for? Well, that is the age-long debate. I'm going to recommend 30 to 45 seconds. Anything that you know is very tight or needs work, feel free to hold it for a minute, or 2 minutes, or 3 minutes. But let's shoot for 30 seconds minimum. All right, let's go to the other side. So left leg up, grab the outside of the leg with the opposite hand, and pull across the body. Deep breath out. Let the spine twist. And get a stretch now across that one side of the body. Shoulder, pecs, torso, across the hip. Try to relax everything. You might feel a release or a little click or pop coming up along the spine. All right. Again, if you feel this is a very nice stretch, ignore me coming out of it. You can stay there as long as you want. I'm going to head into a hamstring stretch next. And anytime we do stretches in these workouts, if you have other things you want to stretch, go for it. If you have other variations of stretches that you like, better than what I'm showing, feel free to do what is more effective or preferable for you. So we're going to go to a seated hamstring stretch. So I'm squaring my pelvis and my torso right up to you, which means my leg is pointing straight to you. It's not out to the side here. I'm going to keep the knee nice and straight, and I'm going to push my belly button towards my toes. This is going to start to put a stretch into the back of the leg. Hamstrings, behind the knee, calf. And I don't need to lean forward at the spine. This might be enough of a stretch and you can stay there. If you want to get a bit more of a fascial stretch, the fascia coming up the back side of the body, then you can bend forward. And that will likely increase the stretch in the hamstring as well. But that is optional. If you don't feel much of a stretch, make sure you're sticking your tailbone out behind you. You're pushing your tailbone to the wall that's behind you, and that will pull the hamstring back to lengthen it out. So if your tailbone is tucked in or you're slouched, then you might not feel much of a stretch. As soon as you stick the butt out, then you should find that stretch. Let's go to the other leg. Same thing, leg pointing straight forward. Push the belly button forward towards the toes until you get that stretch. We can increase the stretch on the on the calf, my apologies, if we pull the toes towards the shin. So if you want more calf, pull the toes back. If you want to focus on the hamstring, don't do that. Just keep the toes neutral or pointing down, and then you can focus into the hamstring. There's no right or wrong. Both are great. Just work on whatever you feel is most appropriate. And if you prefer longer stretches, you could always do bilateral. So do both legs at the same time, and then you have the opportunity to hold it for 2 minutes. And while we're here doing 45-second holds, you'll get twice as much time in the stretch. All right, that's our hamstrings. Come on up. We're gonna go to a standing quad stretch. So if you wanna work on your balance, then don't hold on to anything. If you don't wanna work on balance or you're concerned about falling, grab hold of a wall or something to keep you stable. You're gonna grab one ankle and we're gonna pull the leg back. Now we don't wanna chicken wing the leg out to the side, so keep it parallel to the other thigh. I'm pulling my knee back, making sure the knee is as bent as possible. And as I pull the leg back, I'm going to squeeze this glute to push the pelvis forward. So knee back, pelvis forward. And that should put the stretch into the quad, the front of the thigh of that leg. Squeeze the glutes. Now we want to actually tuck the tailbone in. So the hamstring, we were sticking our tailbone out because the hamstring's on the back of the leg. Now we're stretching the front of the leg. So now we want to tuck the tailbone in to increase the stretch. All right, that's probably a good 30 to 45 seconds. So let's go to the other side. And I've probably mentioned this already in the warm-up, but if you find one side is significantly more in need of stretching than the other, maybe it's an old injury, overuse, or it's just tighter for some reason, feel free to do 2 sets on that one side, or just spend more time on it. So maybe spend 70% of your time stretching the tighter leg or arm, and only 30% on the side that's less tight. Until they get closer to even, then you can start to balance out the time you're dedicating to it. All right, release there, that's the quads. Last one, my friends, we're gonna go into a pec stretch coming across the front of the shoulder. Now, if you have a doorway, a lot easier to get in position and do the stretch. I'll show it on the wall in case that's all you have available to you. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the elbow on the wall, about shoulder height. We can change the angles, but starting point, just shoulder height, see how that goes. My right arm is on the wall, so I'm going to step through with my right leg. And I'm just gonna keep moving forward, which will pull my elbow behind me until I feel a stretch coming through the front of the shoulder. I can also turn my torso away from the wall, and that will increase the stretch coming across the shoulder into the pec muscle. Play with your angles. Find where you need that stretch. Make sure you're breathing. If you have fairly tight pecs, you might find that you're going to get some tingling or numbness or zingy stuff going into the hand because you're putting some pressure into the brachial plexus or the nerves crossing the shoulder. Once you come off the wall, that's going to go away. But if you don't like that feeling, just come out of it, shake your arm out, and you can go back and do it. Let's flip to the other side. I'll go over here. So if you are doing a doorway, it's pretty much all the same thing. Elbow, shoulder height, step through with that leg, turn away. If you want to do bilateral, you get both elbows on either side of your door frame. And then you just keep stepping through until you feel a stretch coming on both sides, and you can do both arms at the same time. I personally like that one a little bit better. So if you have a doorway, feel free to go check that one out. Some people do prefer the unilateral option, doing one arm at a time. So do what works for you there. That's probably about 30 seconds on that second side. You can come on out of there, and you made it through your January mild workout. So great work, glad you stuck with it. If you would like to go through the same workout 2 times a week, 3 times a week throughout January, feel free to do so. You can also go check out the spicy workout, which is going to be a little bit more work than what we do here. Probably more conditioning, heart rate's going to be a lot higher, some more challenging exercises. Feel free to try that out. If that's a little too advanced, stick with this one, and in February we'll have something new for you. All right, great work. It was fun to work out with you. And if you have any questions or wondering about other things that I offer, just reach out to me. You'll know where to find me. See you later.